Xbox had an amazing year in 2021. Major releases like Forza Horizon 5, Halo Infinite, Psychonauts 2, the Microsoft Flight Simulator, Age of Empires 4 and many more kept Xbox gamers busy and happy. But 21 was only the beginning. In 2022, Xbox is going to continue to release game after game with even more exclusives, more day one Game Pass launches and a bunch of stuff that isn't even officially announced yet. And the returning viewers of my channel know that this means that the Boxenberger Xbox timeline will make a return in today's video so that we can take a look into what Xbox has in store for us gamers in 2022. Hello gamers from around the world, this is Boxenberger, the video game enthusiast from Germany. I hope everyone had some great holidays with your loved ones and that you got to play some games. So in today's video we will focus on Xbox in the year 2022. I'm not going to discuss any third-party releases like Dying Light 2, Elden Ring, the Avatar game, Gotham Knights, Suicide Squad and all the others. I have a dedicated video on that. I will focus here on the Xbox ecosystem exclusives from first-party and second-party deals. I will also talk about all the games that will come day one at their respective releases into Game Pass, and we will talk about what is highly likely to be released in 2022. And to see just how good these upcoming games look, make sure to set your player to full 4K 60 FPS. And while you're at it, it would be awesome of you to consider to also hit the like and subscribe button and maybe even turn on the notification bell to not miss out on future content. Okay, thank you guys for the outstanding support, and now let's start with all the confirmed Xbox exclusive games in 2022. The Xbox exclusive year will kick off on February 10th with Crossfire X. This game was supposed to come out in 2021, but it got delayed to early 22. This game is a multiplayer military shooter in the vein of Counter-Strike, and it's developed from the South Korean developer Smilegate, but Xbox partnered with Remedy, makers of games like Alan Wake or Control, to make a single-player campaign built in Remedy's own engine, the Northlight engine, and I can't wait to see how that campaign turns out because Remedy knows how to tell a good story. On April 28th, we will get the release of Stalker 2 exclusively in the Xbox ecosystem. This open world horror slash survival slash RPG shooter will be the first big AAA game outside of Fortnite that will run in the Unreal Engine 5, and we can already tell from the first gameplay that we have seen that this game is going to be a looker, but outside of beautiful graphics we can expect a dense open world game. Think Metro meets open world RPG slash survival. Definitely one of my most anticipated games. The next game is Redfall, which will come exclusively in the Xbox ecosystem in summer 22. Arcane Studios have been working on this title for quite a while, and it's going to be a single player or co-op open world game where you fight vampires, which I appreciate that we have something else than zombies. Recently a bunch of screenshots have been leaked and comparisons from playtesters have been made with Borderlands, and given that Arcane games have always been something unique in terms of gameplay and level design, I have no doubt that we will get a blockbuster with Redfall in summer 22. The biggest announced Xbox exclusive for 22 is undoubtedly Starfield, coming on November 11th. This is the first new IP from Bethesda in 25 years. The mastermind behind games like Skyrim or Fallout, Todd Howard, described this game as Skyrim in space. It will be an RPG where you can discover different planets with different biomes, create your own adventures, and given the track record of the studio, this is going to be a massive RPG. They built that game in a complete new engine, the Creation Engine 2.0, and I have no doubt that this will be a true next-gen experience because they have said that their vision for the game was not possible on last-gen hardware. Confirmed for 22 is also the Xbox exclusive Ark 2. We don't have a proper release date yet for this survival game that will now get a single-player campaign starring Vin Diesel, who will also to some degree be participated in the development of that campaign. Definitely an interesting one to look forward to. Games with dinosaur settings are rare, and the first one is still a massive success, and I can't wait to see what they will do with part 2. And 2022 will also be the year where Scorn will finally release. This game was announced in the lead up to the launch of the Xbox Series X and S and is a gross looking horror game that reminds of the art style of the Alien movies. No particular date yet other than October 22. Obviously there will also be more Halo content coming. Halo Infinite has been announced as an ongoing game, so in 22 we will definitely get more maps for the multiplayer, probably a couple of new modes, and we shall see if we will also get a campaign expansion. Co-op for campaign is definitely coming in in April, 6 months after launch. But in addition to these confirmed exclusives for 2022, Xbox will have a bunch of multi-platform titles that will launch day and date into Game Pass. One of them is the highly anticipated A Plague Tale 2. The first one was definitely a surprise. The studio Asobo built their own engine for that game, and not just did it look absolutely beautiful, but it was a masterpiece in storytelling. So naturally, I'm super excited for the successor, and from the looks of it, it will be even more diverse in its environment settings and combat systems. So I highly recommend for everyone to keep an eye out for Amicia and her brother Hugo. Then we got a couple of smaller titles coming day one to Game Pass, like Atomic Heart, Party Animals, Shredders, Somervilles, Replaced, and many more. What we will also see next year come to Game Pass is the highly critically acclaimed Deathloop. Prior to the acquisition from Bethesda through Microsoft, Sony struck a timed exclusive deal for that game from Arcane, and since we know that the deal was a one-year timed exclusive, we can assume that in September this will hit Game Pass. And since we have seen throughout 21 that Microsoft is announcing day one Game Pass releases relatively close to launch, I think it is safe to say that we will get throughout the course of 22 a lot more of these day one releases from third-party games. Now, all of these aforementioned games are confirmed for Xbox in 22, but there are a couple of games that haven't been officially announced, but for the most part we all know that they are coming. And the first is definitely the next Forza Motorsport. The last entry in the series came out in October 2017, so a 22 release would have given the developer turn 10 5 years, which is insanely long if you consider that they used to be on a 2-year cycle. I'm glad that they are given more time, because they developed a complete new engine from the ground up to take advantage of all that the current gen consoles have to offer. This will not only be a visual showcase, but they also invested a lot in better simulation of the car physics, and recently the developers spoke about them showing more of Forza in 22, so I think it's an open secret that this game will come out that year. Another release that is highly likely in 22 is Contraband. That game is developed by Avalanche Studios exclusively for the Xbox ecosystem. In 21 they said that they partnered more than 3 years ago with Xbox to bring this co-op action adventure to life. A 2022 release would have given them at least 4 years, and considering that the team working on that game is apparently at least 150 people strong, I think that this smuggler game, which is set in the 1970s, could come out in 22. There's another one that I love to bring up, and that is the next game from Machine Games, Wolfenstein 3. Wolfenstein 2 came out in October 2017, making this a 5-year development cycle for Wolfenstein 3. And we know that Machine Games is also working on an Indiana Jones game, but the production of that game has only just begun earlier in 21. And the team at Machine Games must have been working over the course of the last almost 5 years now on something. And that's why I think in 22 they will bring the Wolfenstein trilogy to an end, so that the team can then entirely focus on Indiana Jones. Another game that is possibly for 22 is the next Compulsion game, codenamed Midnight. This is going to be a third-person action game set in a dark fantastical world. Recently, Jez Corden from Windows Central leaked a couple of informations on that game, and since in 22 it's been 6 years since Compulsion released We Happy Few in July 2016, I think the game has definitely a chance to come out that year. Another one I have seen speculations about is State of Decay 3. That game has been announced in 2020, and since State of Decay 2 came out in 2018, the team already had in 22 4 years to develop that game. I personally think it could be a little bit too early, and given the pandemic delay it could also be a 23 title, but then 23 is even more packed with first party Xbox games, so I put that game as a maybe in 22. I know a lot of other speculations are out there about Fable, Hellblade and Avowed. I don't see Fable or Hellblade 2 next year, but given how long Avowed already has been in development, I thought about this as a 22 release, but then Microsoft already has Starfield coming at the end of 22, and I don't think they want to put Avowed, another RPG, against Starfield, and for an early 22 release it's probably a bit too early. Be that as it may, the confirmed game roadmap for Xbox in 22 looks amazing, and there are 100% a couple of unannounced games like the aforementioned Forza Motorsport and others. We also know about a lot of third-party exclusive deals that Xbox game publishing arm is working on, for instance the Project Dragon from IO Interactive and many others. So there will definitely be no shortage of new game announcements throughout 22. And that brings me to my conclusion. 2022 is going to be an incredibly fantastic year for gamers. Sony is also going to have a strong year, and the third-party games are just absolutely amazing, with some of the biggest of the big titles coming next year, like Suicide Squad, Elden Ring, Dying Light 2, Hogwarts Legacy, Gotham Knights and many more. And of course Xbox will have a couple of surprises up their sleeves for 22. There will definitely be a lot of Game Pass Pass announcements along the year, they will make some big announcements at gaming shows, they will add a couple of features to the console like they did in 21, and they will bring back in-person fan events. And since Xbox was able to stay over the course of 21 constantly in the news with bigger or smaller news items, I have zero doubt that they will continue that trend throughout 2022, because the future of Xbox has never been brighter and gamers can be really exciting for an amazing year in gaming in 2022. But with that, I want to wrap it up and I want to wish everyone a happy new year and say a big thank you for everyone who has supported me throughout 21. You guys are absolutely amazing and I'm truly humbled by how great this community is. And that's why I made a couple of plans for 22, so definitely stay tuned. There's a lot of super cool stuff coming here on this channel very soon. And on your way out, if you haven't already, it would be awesome of you to hit the like and subscribe button and maybe even hit the little notification bell. And for those who want early access to my videos and get custom made badges and emojis, you can consider to become a channel member and help me take this channel to the next level. You can also find me on Twitter to strike up a gaming conversation, but for now, thanks again to everyone. I hope you all have an amazing year in 2022 and don't forget to game on.